Sova and actually putting a Cypher on the map. So that's very interesting to go without a Sova on such a large map.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, the biggest kind of key differential between both of these squads is the fact that it's Sage on one side, Sova on the other, and then your choice of Sentinel kind of between the mix of whatever you so prefer, whether it's the Killjoy or the Cypher. But as we get into the pistol, will be a pretty passive setup here for Ryze. And one of the things that, you know, you need to keep in mind is that Ryze has been very creative over the course of this stage, and it'd be really interesting just not having a chance to see them at all throughout this map. What do they have in store for us?
Yeah, not really sure, as we are seeing Ryze kind of set up for the A split here. They're being able to get control over towards switch position. Already had the entry on the Shazam as well. They're attacking the pyramids, and they're getting some deep penetration into the site. But now we're seeing Dapper and Tints actually fighting back very effectively.
Looking pretty solid, even trades coming through. Poise trying to keep some space to work with as Tens has established threat over the middle of the map. Spike is still down just outside of A, and ooh, Poise nearly gets an angle but can't quite convert the shots, and of course Tens will punish. That'll be no problem whatsoever, but Neptune looking to at least still get this Spike planted, and it doesn't seem like that will be what he's able to go. 1v3 now, but no chance to get that off the ground, so Sentinel takes first effect.
Yeah, I mean, it started out pretty promising from the Ryze perspective, you know, being able to get some pretty good initial map control, you know, setting up this particular A split, being able to get into the A halls, be able to, you know, get out cave and start making some progress from the site. And, you know, they were able to get kind of that first layer of the site kind of playing behind the pyramids towards cave, but there was just kind of a switch that got flipped in the mid-round where you started seeing Sentinels able to kind of sit back and fight back at range, be able to get themselves into an advantage in the end, and ultimately come up with the victory there. So really solid way to kick things off if your Sentinels coming in as the favorite, coming in on a map that you haven't played a whole lot, but Ryze hasn't played at all. So you're kind of, you know, it's kind of the devil that you don't know, so to speak. And so far, things have gone the way that they wanted.
Well, it's really funny because you think back to when we were watching Sentinels play this map versus both Xset and 100 Thieves most recently, but like you mentioned, that was a month ago. That is most recently. You know, there was a lot of battle for what was happening in the middle of the map. Maybe not off the rip, but definitely through the mid-round. There seemed to be a lot of pressure being established from all three of those aforementioned squads, trying to take over that mid-map, especially from the defensive POV. So I'll be really curious, I think, just to see if Ryze is going to have a response to that, because we've already established that threat early here, as you see Tens kind of getting in the middle of the map early, trying to take away space and have the ability to dash right away in case he doesn't like the look of the fight. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting because, again, no information gatherer when it comes to a Sova here for Ryze. So they're going to be a little bit blind through that mid-map as well.
Yeah, that is tough to not have the drone, not have the recon. It's definitely going to deny a lot of intel. Yeah, you're going to have the Cypher cam and things of that nature to maybe kind of keep tabs on flanks if you're trying to just focus on like single side executes where you're not really playing the map control, you're just more playing set pieces on sites. And I'd imagine A is going to be the more friendly target, right? B's a lot more claustrophobic. It's a very tight choke point to get in there unless you're able to actually get some top mid control and get to the tunnel. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what Ryze's attacking strategy is going to be going forward. But we probably won't learn too much this round, Chiff.
No, probably not too much at all. Just see if you can get some ultimate orbs, get a little bit of resource generation going on. Shazam going to take over the middle of the map once more as he peeks through the A double doors. Recon bolt will be destroyed. Shank's having a little bit of a battle here with the sentry turret, which Dapper says, yep, I'll take that fight every day of the week. And in fact, the sentry turret does come into play for an elimination.
There you go. Dapper's turret may have more frags than some of Ryze at this point. It's always a stat line you don't want to be on the wrong end of, but obviously early days, so we can't really blame them as Sentinels are just spreading all across center of the map and having no trouble mopping things up with upgraded weapons. It's what we've come to expect in situations like these, but Ryze will be able to battle against the Sentinels bonus next round. That's when they can try to make their first statement here on Breeze, as it'll be a flawless round from Sentinels. Love to see that. See them just carry over all the Spectres. I'm spending the extra cash.
I'm just going to be really curious to see what the executes are going to look like here from Ryze. Because, like we mentioned, this is a team that does kind of like to read the lay of the land before they go. But this is not a setup that's going to allow you to find instant information. Like, you're really just looking at what can you get from Neptune, really, right? I mean, that's really the kind of initiation you have.
Yeah, basically just hoping that you can get something on the Trailblazer. Obviously, the flashes are going to give you a little bit of detection. Doesn't give you exact intel, but it does let you know if you've, you know, spotted someone, right? So they get a little bit of that. It's going to be a lot of reliance on Neptune in that regard. So they're going to flash to Pillar to try to get Shank set up early just to kind of make sure there's no one cheating from Sentinels aggressively. However, we can see that there is that taking place elsewhere on the match. Shazam's push cave. That's a very powerful position to have with that Spectre. He's going to basically be guaranteed an up-close and personal fight if someone comes that direction. He could also maybe lurk behind, but he's also kind of in a one-and-done spot as well. So it's a little bit risky, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, you will have the ability, I think, for Sentinels defensively to rotate over quickly in case you do see point of contact. Also, an alarm bot placed up towards the top side of vents. So Sentinels will rotate a third member over to B just to essentially fortify and be a bastion there right as the entry will come through. But Rise again trying to come on over. Shazam, unexpectedly so, makes his play over towards Cave. Able to get a lot of damage done, but can't find the kill. So Superman for the first. And now all of a sudden, Shanks from mid-map, he can actually dash on in and maybe clear a little bit extra space here as Rise attacks.
Yeah, he's had such, heavy mid control over towards that mid door for quite some time now, so he can be that extra angle of attack. They're going to flash through the Viper wall and start making some progress on that A-site. Spike will go down. And basically the defense is being funneled through defending spawn. Shanks does get caught in mid, however, so it equals the numbers back up, and now Sentinels have something to launch off of.
And they're already here to contest Neptune. Guiding Light will go through, able to find the flash, but 10 stays alive. Able to get the Cloud Burst in to gain separation while he found at the top with the Marshall. But Neptune able to take one with him. Derek's still a part of the play as well, just a little bit deeper. Good help coming through, but Zombs trades things back. 2v1 favoring the Sentinels defense, but Derek fully healthy. Not going to be able to find Zombs in time, so it's 3 for the Viper player of Sentinels, and how about 3 on the board for Sentinels of the squad?
Yeah, I mean, it was some good ideas early on in that round from Rise, right? They were able to get Shanks pretty deep up mid pretty early on, get him to mid doors, set up the potential for the A split without having to really have that Hall's access to do it. They did kind of trap Shazam in that deep cave position, get that opening pick, and get themselves something to work with a nice Viper wall on the A side to cut themselves in. But Shanks getting caught out in middle allowed Sentinels to equal the numbers back up. They also just were able to get some pretty quick picks from kind of that back hall position towards defender spawn and able to use that to work their way in. And now we have to see Rise go with this triple Marshall setup, as well as a couple of upgraded pistols. Alt is available for Neptune, so Seeker's going to give them a little bit of space, but not a whole lot of firepower to back it up.
No, not at all, especially when you have 10s on the other side. That's going to have the one-shot wonder of the operator in the mix. Aldrone able to free 6, so get a little bit further forward. And yeah, that's just going to be one of those problems that Rise is going to need to find a solution to, because that's free every day of the week and twice on Sunday for Sentinels.
Yeah, I mean, what they relied on before was just using their side flashes to be able to get up middle and try to scare Sentinels away from taking these aggressive mid stances. But yeah, in a round like this, they don't have the resources to commit to that. And it's kind of getting eaten up right now. It's going to be 4-0 in favor of Sentinels, and maybe another flawless round for Sentinels. The second flawless round of the half. So they are really kicking it into gear early on here.
Oof. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't expect Rise to obviously find the round going up against the operator of 10s and full rifles, but still, it's like, you would love to see something. I mean, they're barely even getting out of spawn at the moment, Dust. I mean, it's not looking all that positive. And this is a round where I hate to say it so early on to the series, but this is going to feel like a must win. I mean, you've only gotten 2 plants off so far. One was in the pistol,
at least show some promise, right? Get into like a post-plant 2 versus 2, try to make that progress, because they did had some interesting things go on their opening gun round against the Sentinels bonus. Like, they were able to get some space, able to make some things happen, but now they're starting to get picked apart. Forward progression again denied early on here. 10's looking for a second, misses, able to dash away though in the bait.
Dapper though from the Cloud Burst, able to find 2, tries to spam down for a third. Not able to quite lock it down, but Shazam is there for the help, and 10s will make sure the front side of Cave stays safe. And yeah, this is going to be likely another flawless coming through unless Derek can do something, but even doing something may not be enough. He's going to have to do a lot here. He's got every single Sentinel member looking at him. And yeah, another flawless comes through in Rise.
So unreal.
Ooh.
3 flawless rounds in a row. I believe Sick has the entirety of Rise covered by himself in frag count. So does Sick and 10s, but I mean, that is so ridiculous to think about how dominant this has been as a start for Sentinels, and it's right back to Rise having to go onto a low buy. I mean, it's just Sentinels are doing whatever they want. They're dictating the pace at middle. They're able to take forward angles and get away with it. And Rise just seem a little bit shook in some of these situations. Again, I think they're certainly hurting not having an owl drone to help scope out mid. I think that they're also just, struggling to find any space. They've had like 1 round that kicked off correctly, and everything else has been a struggle.
Even here, Shazam sees the information that there are a number of Rise members mid-map. To commit a little bit more utility just to see what exactly is going on, while actually it's Rise largely trying to take over the backside of Curve over towards B. Rotating over, though, is Shazam, so he's going to be playing topside platform, and this is going to be a really good look for him. Yeah, sees all the information again. No utility needed for that bit of intel, though.
On target.
Yeah, they want to step out and grab Neptune as well. Spot Superman, he's done for as well, and Shazam getting all the intel he needs, as well as bringing members down. Spots to Spike, does eventually go out, but Dapper and 10's able to trade right back, no problem. And it's going to be 6-0 for Sentinels. And while this is not a flawless round, this is probably the 5th round that's happened to survive with 4 members at the very least. So they are sweeping through this game right now. Something's got to give quickly here, as they are just getting outgunned. I mean, almost everyone on Sentinels has the entirety of Rise covered by themselves in frag count.
Yeah.
This is a timeout requirement.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is getting out of hand quickly. And what was round 4, we talked about kind of maybe being a must-win round, or round 5, pardon me. This one absolutely is. I mean, you can't go down 0-7 because that means you're down 0-8. And at that point, I think you start just looking at Ascent. So let's just kind of play coach role here for a moment. Like, what are we looking for Rise? Because we haven't really had a chance to see them play this map at all yet, to be fair. The only round that they've actually been able to get onto a site, save the pistol, was after they were able to get Shanks through mid-map. He contested through A double doors, and then you had the wall from Superman to come up to get them onto the site. But even still, the post point wasn't comfortable.
It's tough because you don't have a Sova to get information with the drone and things of that nature. You have to rely on the Trailblazer a lot for that. On top of that, because you have Viper as your solo controller, you have to be a little bit more careful about how you're placing, you know, your wall or your orb. Because I mean, if you place on A, it's kind of telegraphed you're going to have to go that direction. It's one of those things where it's almost like I feel like they're going to have to kind of either start giving up on the whole mid option altogether and just focus on some side set pieces, like kind of in the early to mid round, and just kind of hope that you can cover the rotations, or they're going to have to find a more effective way to battle back middle. I'm not sure what protocols they have in place for that, but it seems like right now they're struggling to even just get a platform to launch off of.
Well, this time, all 5 members, save just Shanks, are going to be making their way over towards B.
I mean, that's tough, too. Look at that. They're having the cost of Trailblazer just to clear out elbow position. That doesn't really give you anything. You're not getting top middle. You're not, you know, threatening B tunnel. You know, you're not really gaining a whole lot from that. All you're really doing is making sure that you're not getting pushed mid. And then you're just kind of sitting back in a holding pattern. I mean, look at all the utility they're spending just to make sure they're not getting pushed mid right now.
Yeah.
It's tough because I feel like that's not really maximizing the value of that utility.
Well, the Aldrin also came out defensively to make sure there was no counter push coming from Rise as well. So Sentinels are going to feel pretty confident that they're safe in mid-map. Flash also came through just to make sure that Shazam could peek one more time. And then, yeah, nothing has been seen. So 50 seconds on the clock, and Supa is actually rotating back over towards A. Could be a fake wall, then execute to B, which it does seem like that very well may be the case. But that means that you got a 3v2 over towards B. You have to effectively clear.
At least Shanks is going to build off of this. It's not just the wall being thrown out there. He's actually going to put pressure with the daggers. That's going to help sell the fake even more. He's going to lay some smokes down. He's definitely keeping A interested, but he's not done enough to cause the full rotation. Sick is still playing inside B side. He's still got a teammate in B tunnels. He's found the opening pick.
And that's not great because Zom's watching the cross angle. Oh no, it's all gone wrong. You have to appreciate the energy, but the efficiency of it, not quite there. 15 seconds of the clock. Spike has been alleviated over towards the B zone itself. And of course, all Sentinels are going to rotate over. This is going to be another lost round. It is one of those that it feels like, okay, like Rise, you started to put together the right play, but at the same point, like you didn't fully execute with any sort of commitment over towards B. Like the fake was really well done. You had an opportunity that just didn't go.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're really hoping that your opponent bites on that Viper wall, because with that Viper wall going so late and with that being the only controller you have on your lineup, you feel like they have to play off that wall, right? Like otherwise they're going to be going into B with virtually no vision blocking. They're just going to be relying on flashes and, you know, just dashing in and hoping for the best. And when you start seeing Shanks put down the cloud burst, you're really starting to feel okay, like looks like it is going to be A, but they never really did quite enough on the timing to really fully commit Sick off of B side or to get Zoms to make his rotation as well. They were able to still keep 2 people in the vicinity when the attack came in and were able to handle it just fine.
Oh boy. Well, this is when the rubber meets the road here for Rise. Need to find something. Tens is starting to feel really feisty too. Even pulling out the blades here. Fury Orb comes through. Flashpoint also in the mix. Staffer though watching the corner. Finds 2 more again. It's just the crossfire setup. How do you get rid of this? Apparently you just don't. All 5 members will fall in another flawless. That's what, 5 and 8 rounds that they've had.
Yeah, they have had a lot of flawless rounds, and they've had several rounds where they've survived with 4 members. I mean, if you look at their total death count, it's pretty insane. Like, they've had a total of 10 deaths across their entire lineup across 8 rounds. I mean, it is bonkers how well Sentinels are playing right now. And again, you're seeing another situation where Rise are able to get some space. It's similar to what they did in their opening buy round against the Sentinels bonus. They just cannot beat those deeper in the site crossfire positions that Sentinels have. I mean, that's twice now that Dats from that corner position by mid doors has been able to line up a multi-frag with very little response out of Rise to retaliate.
Oh, now the Viper's pick defensively will lock down B.
Yep.
Heavy defensive stack on numbers for Sentinels over towards
Sick
A.
as mid.
Yep, where do you go? I mean, this is a slice of Swiss cheese with no holes in it at the moment. But Rise able to find one, but that may be about it. Even trades coming through, even 10s with the Sheriff. My goodness. Defending lockdown also in play, and that's going to be trouble here for Rise. Even though they do destroy it, but there's nowhere to go. Shanks tries to dash away, but Tens was waiting for it. And now it's just down to Derek up top. Tens gonna hit that shot, but that's fine. Sick is there for the assistance, and it's a 9-0 early.
Yeah, this is... I almost feel like I'm witnessing a crime that I should be reporting since I have a proper authority. I feel like there's some type of bystander effect going on, and man, I feel a little bit guilty. Should we call someone?
I mean, we might have to.
I don't know who we can.
Maybe Bach or Vansili will know. I mean, they're in studio right there. Like,
yeah.
Is there anyone
might
local
need to break
that they
open
can
the
call?
red phone. Break open the red phone in case of emergency. Break glass now. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, again, that round, I feel like the key point of that was that second kill Tins got out the Sheriff on on Halls. Without that, I think that the trading was actually going okay for Rise. They were starting to, again, get that multi-prong attack on A, starting to get some space. It's just when Tins is able to find Sanctuary at Pyramid and get that second frag, it just changed everything. And then, hell, Shanks just dashes out into Oblivion. I mean, they just seem like they're lost.
Definitely not great. Sick able to read that there are two players through the elbow. Trailblazer, Guiding Lights will go out. Zom's still feeling pretty greedy over towards B, and why not? He hasn't really been dealt with at all yet. Nope. He's going to have help on the rotation through mid. Here comes the hit from Rise. All 5 members coming through. Derek able to find one. Okay, opportunity here. The defensive toxic screen, not going to be allowed to see too much, but Zom's is using this to his advantage. So darn well, finds 2. Had a really solid read on where the third would have been coming from, but can't quite find the triple, and with that, maybe a chance to actually get the spike planted.
Maybe, but there's Hunter's Fury available, and that is going to stall out that plant right now, and Dapper comes in for a couple off the back of it. Superman is able to respond, but it's still a tough 2 versus 2 with Spike still not planted.
And Dapper's on the backside. Tried to open up a little bit more space. Sentry turret down. Jake's going to get revealed and dealt with. Shazam able to find that kill, no problem. Supa on the corner, can't block down the shots. Had maybe an opportunity for an impressive 1v2 if he could have snapped to the second, but never finished the first, and it's going to be 10-0 to Sentinels.
That's the closest round Rise has had this entire half, though. I mean, just being able to burst onto B, get a nice initial entry. The problem is, it's just a little bit of inefficient trading on Zoms in the back corner of the site, letting him get 2 when he was basically getting pinched. And this situation right here, you got to be able to be a little bit efficient with that. Obviously, Hunter's Fury caused some problems here. Dapper able to set that flank in they were never prepared for. And, I mean, Sentinels just have this map covered, man. There's really no gaps that they've really allowed Rise to exploit. They're firing on all cylinders. They're in the form that you would expect out of them. And, again, I think this comes back to Rise's map pool woes. When you have Icebox as a weakness and you haven't played Breeze yet in Official to really know where you stand, it makes it really hard to navigate this series.
That's something we brought up even during their run for Challengers 2. You know, yeah, it was one of those win 2 before you lose 2 situations. They were able to do that, but only if barely. And they still, we kind of talked about it when we were watching it over live, was there are some big gaps for not just Rise, but a number of teams when it comes to Breeze being added to the map pool and maybe not being necessarily as well versed on it as you need to be. First couple of kills coming through for Sentinels. 5v3 situation, and honestly speaking, Rise has been trapped here in the middle of the map with Seekers chasing him down.
At least have been able to get Shazam back here, so able to get a little bit of mid-control established. They have the push here through A Halls as well by Derek, and he might even be able to get a little bit of a flank off here on the Tins. Actually spots Dapper and Tins and gets them both, and that is what they finally needed to break something open. It's a nice aggressive flank maneuver.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
What did we just watch?
I don't know, but if Psalms wins this 1 versus 2, you might as well stick a fork in Rise for this map. They need to close this.
Yeah. They've got a good post-plant position. That's the decent kind of situation at the moment. Toxic Screen can play with time here. Zoms is fully healthy, though. But has to clear so much space.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the biggest issue. You just don't know if there's someone lurking behind a box somewhere. Rise
no
very
utility
well,
either to cover yourself.
Yeah. Rise very well should have this round, no problem. But Zoms, of course, going to give it a go. Why not? More than enough economy to play with. So you'll toggle, just maybe see if there's any information. He will catch the spike in. Nice overhead view of where exactly the snake bite's coming out, and there will not be enough time to defuse here. And Supa beyond that will also not even give the consideration a second thought as he does find the kill. So Rise on the board. Cool, but you feel like it just took a little bit too long here in this offensive half.
Yeah, this is one of the Well, this is the only time that they've been able to actually use that Halls control to actually get something from it. The previous couple of times they've been able to get into A Halls, whenever they flip the switch, they've gotten busted and kind of held back from actually getting onto site. This round, you're able to see Derek, throughout all the train that was going on in the middle, be able to actually get deep into towards defender spawn, get in behind Dapper and Tins, and crack open the A site basically by himself. Without his move, then that's probably another round for Sentinels, and it might have been not only flawless rounds that Sentinels have been getting all game long, but a flawless map. But at least Rise able to put that one on the board.
And who knows what they have defensively for us. You would love to get this second round, though, just to keep the potential of a dramatic comeback alive. But Shazam will find first blood. That's up the middle of the map. Shanks walking into sight through the toxic cloud. But he will be revealed, and oh boy. Now all of a sudden, Sentinels will be very aware of the threat, and Secrets will have to come through, largely just to make sure that there is some sort of an exit here for Shanks.
Yeah, lockdown going in here for Dapper, though. They're trying to kind of entrench on this site. Shanks still able to get the pick onto Tins. They're starting to make some forward progress here, trying to see if they can get all the way and stop this lockdown, but Dapper going to disallow that, and now they're in some real trouble.
Just going to commit for the plant, though. Nobody will be detained by this Neptune. Going to be shrugged back, and oh my goodness, the damage is severe. Shazam still a part of this hit, just not really giving room to sight. We'll find one, and a second Sick also a part of it, and my goodness. I wouldn't even call it a retake. It's just a recontest of what was a post plant. Unbelievable resiliency from Sentinels again.
Yeah, it was a consistent theme throughout the half. Just Rise never able to crack open truly that back Hall's crossfire on a site, with the exception of one aggressive lurk round from Derek that got the job done. I mean, it was just Sentinels all half long, completely dominant performance. I mean, there's really nothing even to break down, to be honest with you, Shift, but I'm sure we'll try, but not before a short break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, and I'm sure you're probably looking, if you're tuning in for the first time, saying, what in the world did I miss? If you're just joining in for the first time here, it was essentially flawlessness from the side of Sentinels in the first half, and realistically speaking, there just was not an offensive response for the default setups for Sentinels here, Dust.
Yeah, I think Sentinels had a total of like 6 truly flawless rounds, and they had a bunch of rounds where they only lost 1 player. So they really did pretty much clean sweep that half. The win blemish, which I'm sure they're not too upset about. In their 3 games they played on Breeze prior to this, they won no less than 4 attacking rounds. So that should put them on pace to close, but we'll see if Rise can try to muster up something here. As we see Sentinels just playing a pretty spread offense here, kind of keeping tabs on any type of push through cave while also, you know, clearing out elbow position and just kind of keeping their options open.
And Dapper making a little bit of noise. Shazam also in position to potentially seek out some information over towards A. It looks like the Spike is happy to rotate that direction for what eventually seems to be a hit. Now, defensively, for the side of Rise, they are a little short-handed here because you've got no slow orbs. You've got really no decay ability either because both your Sage and your Viper on the other side. And here comes the information, and with that also the hit. Still not rotating, though, as Rise. Sentinel's already taking away a lot of space, but the Cyber Trap will be there for Derek. Able to find one. That'll be a good start for the defense.
Yeah, they're able to start kind of backing up and just kind of playing these longer range battles now with the pistols. As Sentinels, though, able to close in on Pyramid, get the spike down, get a frag back to themselves, get it back into a 4-on-4 situation. Now they can just kind of use this wall as sanctuary and kind of force Rise to press forward.
Not expecting the immediate response, though, but Rise still come away with a 3-for-1. So it is just down to Shazam, 1v3 situation, playing a bit more of a passive angle. Does he have a look at where the spike is planted is the real question. No, he does not, because there is a wall down in front of him. Oh, but Shazam able to find one, able to find 2, but not able to get over the top of the wall for the 3rd. The boy sticking for the defuse will allow Rise the pistol win.
Indeed it will, and that is more of a survival requirement than really, you know, putting them in a position to come back just yet, but at least that's the first box checked off, and still a close one done. That was a labored victory, but again, able to get it done. You know, being able to play back behind this Viper wall, able to eventually kind of flash their way through and kind of use that to gain some ground and get a couple of big frags to put them up, while obviously providing sanctuary for the actual defuse. And so that'll keep them going. That'll get them onto SMGs, and we are seeing a pretty decent investment, though, from Sentinels. They're going to get some Sheriffs and a Marshal out there. They're not looking to full save. They're looking to invest, and we'll see if they can throw a wrench in the plans of Rise with it.
And 4 kills with a plant. Sentinels feeling frisky. Maybe pulling out the old strat from the playbook, the we're just better strat, and just let's see what happens. I mean, you would have a lot of ground to stand on if you wanted to make that argument that at the moment you are just better. But Rise, pretty solid defense, and now some extra weapons to try to fortify whatever they decide to do here. And you, well, for a moment, so you have 3 members over towards B. Again, there's really no ability for Rise to even check nor clear mid-map, though. That's the big problem.
Yeah, it is indeed. Sentinels do have a lot of space here, but it's about making that next breakthrough and actually getting onto one of these sites. It's going to come down to timing, as there is a cam watching that mid-doors position, waiting to see if Sentinels are indeed looking to approach that direction. In the meantime, Sentinels holding on to middle. He's making sure no one's rotating through B, through mid just yet. There is still plenty of defense, though, in place at Halls and in the site itself, and they're very aware of this mid-doors attack.
Shanks for 1, but the immediate response from Sin. Also tagged up in the play with Derek. He's going to try to have to lock things down with the Odin, or pardon me, the Ares, and will be able to do so with 2. 10 still able to gain some space to work with up towards the front side of site. Poise trying to meet him. 10 still finds 1, dashes away. And the door will be shut into play, but not quite fast enough. Poise able to find 1 in return, and it just falls onto the shoulders of 10. 1v2 situation with the Sheriff, and Supa will clean things up. So an investment for Sentinels, but still Rise 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, really well done by Derek with that Ares there. When the initial trade comes in and Sentinels are able to break through mid doors onto that A site, you start to wonder if Sentinels are going to be able to get the extra space they need to actually get on there and get a plant and make things interesting. Instead, we see Derek able to tee off with that Ares and kind of silence that. But now Sentinels, you know, with all they have done, are still able to full buy rifles here. And so they're able to come and attack this Rise bonus, and they need to somehow find a way to convert this, otherwise they are going to be against the Sentinels map point.
You win this one, though, if you're Rise and you start to maybe establish a little bit of confidence. Hey, we can play up against these guys. Let's just not let that offensive half dictate the entire series.
Look at
Boys
how
gonna be
free
tested.
Sentinels are getting mid, man. They are
Yep.
already in B tunnels this early in the round. And the drone's
Drone will
clearing out
scout
that
out
front
one.
corner.
It's just such a lack of information here from Rise overall. Boys has to respond to whatever comes his way almost immediately. Ten's already through, trying to work his way onto site. The toxic screen providing a bit of a deterrence, but is it large enough is the question. Boys for one. Again, the double focus that he has to pull. You see him just looking left, looking right. Sentinels are all over this site. They've completely isolated, looking for Shanks to peek. Yeah, Sid gets that challenge. No problem. One more and Sit for 3. That'll lead to a plant, and Derek will have to find a way to navigate a 1v4.
Yeah, this is just looking like really the final nails are being hammered into the coffin for Rise, at least for this map.
Planted.
As the spike will go down, a 4-1 post-plant favoring Sentinels to get to map point, and they'll have 9 chances to win in regulation from that point forward. And you can already just see the stark contrast in map fluency and just comfortability. You know what, Sentinels being able to take top mid control pretty much with ease. They were so quickly in the B tunnels. Something that Rise could never really do. I mean, the furthest up mid they ever got was the mid door towards A site. They could never really threaten, you know, a defending spawn flank or, you know, a B tunnel set up for some type of B split. Meanwhile, Sentinels are able to accomplish it pretty much immediately. And it just doesn't really instill a whole lot of confidence and faith that Rise are going to be able to figure out a way to win 9 in a row to force an overtime when you're seeing Sentinels get that much map control that easily.
Yeah, very fair point. But we'll see what they can put together here. Backs up against the wall for map number 1. A map that, again, like we had mentioned, the desk had touched on. We have never seen Rise play this map, and I think we're starting to realize maybe why. Sentinels very quickly on towards the A site. The only defensive member actually on the site is Derek, and he only has a Marshall, but quickly on the flank. Shanks is trying to make a play from behind. The Seekers, I believe, will scout that out, no problem. Neptune trying to assist from the side door, and Shanks actually found 2 kills. Not bad. Keeps the play defensively, maybe alive for a touch longer than you'd like if you're Sentinels, but it all falls down to Neptune, and he will very quickly fall. 13-3, the first map, and if you tuned in late, well,